Next, we're going to talk the People tab. So we're going to go up to the very top and tap on People. And mine looks very lonely right now because I just created this class. So what we're going to talk about are a couple of different things. You have on here, teachers are going to be listed at the top. Students are going to be listed at the bottom. You can invite students and teachers by clicking on the invite icon off to the side of it. So you'd click on that option and then type in their name. And again, make sure that you use the student gccisd.net account and not their gccisd account because you can't add them if you try to add the wrong account. You'll get that error. Can't invite teacher from this domain. And then students, if you click on invite students, you can also send invites to each of your kids as well. So if you have a particular student that maybe hasn't joined yet or may have a harder time typing in the code themselves, you can invite them individually. One word of note to an invite. An invite means you are inviting them into your classroom. That does not mean that they have to come into your classroom. They can choose to decline your invite and not come. So just take that as a note. You cannot force the student to join your class. You can simply invite and wait for them to accept that invite or give them the code and wait for them to join the class themselves. This is a good thing, I think, because if you have students that are showing up as pending invitations, then you know that they have not accepted it, and it's not necessarily that they can't get the code to work, it's that they're not pushing on the join button. So those are two ways. Give someone the code to join as a student or invite them. And if you need to have a co-teacher join your class, if they want all the features of a teacher to be able to actually see the student work, then you would need to add them as a co-teacher. You can have up to 20 teachers in a class, and you can have up to 1,000 students in a class. So keep that in mind when you're creating your classrooms in case those limits are something that you may need to be mindful of. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to another class so that you can see what this looks like, where there's actual people. So I can see my total number of students. I can see them here listed. Since I have invite guardians turned on, that option is here for me as well. So if I needed to invite a guardian for Roxlyn, what I can do is click invite guardians and then type in or copy and paste that email address in for the guardian there. If there's already a guardian listed for a student, I don't know if I have any here. No. That email address would show up automatically. So if another teacher invited Roxlyn's parent to join their class, then when Roxlyn joins your class, you're going to see the same guardians listed. And then the guardian would just have to add that, yes, they want to be getting the notifications for your class as well. So once you have students in, you can do a couple of different things. Off to the right-hand side, you can sort students by last name or first name. By default, they sort by first name. If you want it to match your grade book, then sort by last name. You can click on a particular student and it will open up your work section so that you can see the items that they've turned in and the grades that they've gotten on them. This is another great screen that if you needed to send a screenshot of this to a parent, guardian, or administrator, it has everything in one place for just this one student that you could send that. Off to the right-hand side of an individual student, you can use that to email them. So if I need to send Roxlyn an email, I can do it straight from here. And then I can also click on the checkbox next to Roxlyn's name. And then up at the top, now Actions becomes available. And if I click on Actions, I can then send an email to any of the students I've selected. I can remove these specific students from my class, or I can choose to mute them, meaning they can't make posts on the stream and they can't comment publicly on anything. They would only be able to send me private comments on assignments. So those actions are there as well. You can also, once you have all the guardians listed, you can click on email all guardians to send an email to all of the parent and guardians at one time. For the guardians as well, the invite section is not available on the Google Classroom iPad app. This is something you can only do from the browser. Another option you have available to you within the student section, this is on a mobile device only. So the Google Classroom phone app or iPad app is there's an option for a student selector. So you'd open up the Google Classroom app and go to the class that you wanted to randomly select your students. You'd tap on the People tab in the bottom right-hand corner. And then on the People screen in the upper right-hand corner, you should see some squares. These are like student selector cards. You're going to tap on that icon. It's going to say, welcome to the selector. We can start selecting. So if you've never used it before, this is the screen you'd see. You'd tap start, and it would start by randomly picking a student. It'll then show you which students have not, it'll tell you the number of students that haven't been picked, the ones that have been picked, and the ones that are absent. If I need to call on Brenda and I've called on her, I can then tap next. And now Brenda goes into my picked pile. Let's say I want to call on Emily later. I'd tap on call later. It keeps her in the not picked section and she could pop up again. Let's say Gordon is absent. I'm going to tap absent. He goes into the absent pile. Katie answers the question. I tap next. Randy answers the question, and I can just keep going through this, choosing to call on students later or that they've already been called on. If I need to reset my selector, so think of your popsicle sticks and you've pulled out your kids, now you want to put them all back in the jar, I would then tap reset. It's going to say all students will now be marked as not picked, and then now I've started over again. So that little student selector is a good thing instead of those popsicle sticks if you're looking to call on random students in your class to answer questions or to do certain things. That selector is a nice built-in feature of the mobile app version of Google Classroom. If you don't see that option in the upper right-hand corner, then you need to go update your Google Classroom app, and it should be there. Okay? And then the next part of the People tab that we're going to talk about is the teachers. So I'm going to go to a class where I have co-teachers. And I'm going to go back to People. And now you'll see my co-teachers. And from here, what you can do is if you click on those three dots, if you need to, you can email your co-teachers. You can remove them as well. And then the last option, make class owner. This is important if you are a teacher and you are leaving the district, or you are changing assignment, you're moving the classroom. What you can do is change the ownership of this class to another teacher so that everything remains in the class. You want to make sure you do this, especially if you are leaving the district, because your account will become disabled. So if it's a class that you created that needs to continue on after you've left the district, always change ownership to another employee of the district so the class can continue on without losing anything or having any errors happen. So what would happen is I would click Make Class Owner. Lauren would receive an email that says ownership is going to be changed to this class, and then Lauren has to accept that ownership switch so that she then becomes the owner of the new class, and then I am just a co-teacher in that class. So Make Class Owner is an important little piece, especially if you are leaving a campus or leaving the district completely in order to change ownership so that all the student work and all of the classwork section is not lost. So that is the People section of Google Classroom.